The ketogenic diet is, nowadays, considered an interesting nutritional approach for weight loss and improvement in insulin resistance. Nevertheless, most of the studies available in the literature do not allow a clear distinction between its effects on insulin sensitivity per se and the effects of weight loss induced by ketogenic diets on insulin sensitivity. In this review, we discuss the scientific evidence on the direct and weight loss-mediated effects of ketogenic diets on glycemic status in humans, describing the ketogenic diet's biochemical background and the underlying mechanisms.
The review study cited in this video was published under the Creative Commons license in July 2023 in the open access journal Nutrients, with the name, The Effects of Ketogenic Diet on Insulin Sensitivity and Weight Loss, Which Came First, the Chicken or the Egg? You can find the link to the original document in our video description.
In the last decades, the world faced a pandemic increase in overweight and obesity. The World Health Organization estimates that 39% and 13% of the world's adult population are overweight and obese, respectively. Alarmingly, the prevalence of overweight among children and adolescents escalated from 4% in 1975 to 18% in 2016. Overweight and obesity are related to insulin resistance, defined as a defect in the insulin-mediated control of glucose metabolism, predominantly in muscle, fat, and liver tissues. In response to such condition, there is an excess of insulin secretion in an attempt to normalize blood glucose concentration. Insulin resistance represents a pre-stage for type 2 diabetes and shows a substantial increase in conjunction with other related diseases, such as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. The complex etiopathogenesis of this dysmetabolic pandemic involves a dangerous mix of physical inactivity and unhealthy dietary patterns. Regarding physical inactivity, it has been reported that about 1/3 of adults worldwide fail to achieve the recommended activity levels. Therefore, about 7 to 8% of all-cause and cardiovascular disease deaths are attributable to physical inactivity. This substantial non-communicable disease burden of physical inactivity is a common feature for high, middle, and low-income countries, and together with unhealthy diet, may also explain the increase in insulin resistance all around the world. The epidemiology of isolated insulin resistance, not associated with other criteria necessary to define the metabolic syndrome, shows different distribution among countries, with prevalence varying from 44.8% in a cohort of young adults in the United States, 46.5% in Venezuelan adults, to 15.5% to 48.11% in Europe, depending on which population was analyzed. One of the more promising nutritional approaches to improve insulin resistance is the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet is a diet in which the amount of carbohydrate is limited to less than 50 grams per day, whilst the intake of fat is increased to assure an adequate energy intake. Indeed, many studies have shown a favorable effects of ketogenic diet on insulin resistance in subjects with overweight or obesity. However, some studies observed, intriguingly, a significant improvement in insulin sensitivity in response to low-carbohydrate diets even in the absence of weight loss. Therefore, our goal is to review the scientific evidence on the dependent and weight loss-mediated effects of the ketogenic diet on glycemic status, describing the biochemical background of the ketogenic diet and the underlying mechanisms. As animals may differ from humans in their responses to diet, considering also the different lifespan and its ratio to diet duration, 14 months of ketogenic diets in mice correspond to 48 years in a human being, we have drawn the effects of ketogenic diets on insulin sensitivity outcomes only from human studies. Conclusions of the review study. Ketogenic diets improve insulin sensitivity through their irrefutable effects on fat and weight loss. Besides weight loss, Ketogenic diet produces direct insulin-sensitizing effects, which are mostly due to the capacity of its restricted digestible carbohydrates content to lower blood glucose and insulin levels. In addition, ketone bodies appear to be able to influence insulin signaling directly. Despite the promising role of ketogenic diet on type 2 diabetes prevention, future studies should address its long-term efficacy and safety in diabetic individuals. The focus should be on the particular features of ketogenic diets, for example, their addition of fiber through natural foods, supplements, microbiota-accessible carbohydrates, probiotics and postbiotics in contrast to other particular features of carbohydrate restriction diets.
Thanks for listening. If this information was useful for you, please smash the like button and find more interesting links in our video description.